Greetings, Earthlings. How are you guys today? It's about 12:24 in the afternoon of Wednesday, June 7th. I got the month right and everything. I'm bringing it up because I was hoping to do this before noon so I could say greetings, good morning, Earthlings. But, even if it was just 2 minutes before noon, I could call it morning. You follow me? So everything I say is simply my opinion. It's simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion, hoping to be educational. I'm always trying to learn and hoping that others are interested in learning with me. So I'm just going a little bonkers with this Idaho 4 case. And I don't want to apologize because I know a lot of you guys are too. And my goal here is to ungaslight myself and to offer that to my viewers. If you would like to ungaslight yourself with me, I've got a few points that I've been running down in my head the last 24 hours, 48. I didn't do a video yesterday. And, you know, one of the first things I want to say is please hit that like button. And share, subscribe, ring your notification bell if you feel like it. So yeah, one of the first things I wanted to say is I've mentioned to my viewers before that my belief is that the most evil thing in this universe is self-doubt. And the only thing worse than self-doubt is evil freaks who try to plant seeds of doubt or self-doubt into other people. So, planting seeds of doubt, not self doubt, but planting seeds of doubt is pretty easy to do. And once you make somebody look a little shady, it's like a slippery slope. It's a lot easier to make them look a lot shady. So, I feel like that's very relevant in this situation with the Idaho 4 and with the criminal defendant. And one of the worst offenses in the whole snowball of gaslighting, in my opinion, is just how innocuous things can seem. So, going back to December 7th, we were told as a public that the police were on the lookout for this white Elantra that an employee at the A&W root beer stand slash gas station happened to see on a surveillance camera speeding at a high rate of speed. And so, the police were looking for the people in this car so that they could talk to them. Do you guys remember that? It was plural. I know there's been other content creators bringing that up recently too, but they just wanted to talk to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it. Okay. So, on the other hand, was very skeptical of the white Elantra from the outset. And I thought, is this a red herring? Like, what the F is this? And then it just kept snowballing. This white Elantra turned out, in the end, to be the key to arresting this completely insane mass unaliver across the country. I'm being sarcastic. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It went from we're looking for this white Elantra to talk to the people in it to look what we got. We got crazy guy. He wears gloves all the time in the winter. He stays up late. He even jogs at night, which certainly makes him a serial unaliver because who does that? Um, Anybody who likes to run, who lives in a hot, humid area in the summertime, will run at night. It's called a midnight run. Not that kind of midnight run, the good kind. So, anyway, law enforcement is very afraid of social media. They're very afraid of YouTube and the content creators and the viewers, the public. And believe me, they are coming out in droves into people's comment sections and chats, and they're even making their own videos. just going to let you think about that because it's true. I mentioned the other day, when I find a new channel that's new to me, the first thing I do is I look at their about section. When did they make their channel? When did they make their first video? What was their first video? So it's pretty interesting, say, when somebody creates a YouTube channel on Christmas Day, and then 2 days later they have this earth-shattering video that nobody else has really heard about, and they are already like on it, like white on rice, about who's in the still shot of the back of the bar. Okay, so the fix is in. We are all aware of that. And Susan Payne, my goodness, you guys, there's a woman named Susan Payne who bought the house directly across the street from the Koberger's house. It was Hard Truth that discovered this through an email that she got from a viewer. And she researched it, and I researched it, and it's a 70-year-old Susan Payne who has a relative in her family named Brett Payne who bought the house November 14th, 2022, and then subsequently sold it 4 or 5 months later at a $7,000 or $4,000, several $1,000 loss. So it's not like they bought it to flip it and make money. They lost a little bit of dough. They owned the house for somewhere around 4 or 5 months, and this house looks directly at the Koberger's house. Those houses aren't very far apart, despite what they might say on News Nation. So, why would somebody buy a house over $400,000, you guys? Not a shack, a really nice home, directly across the street, the day after these crimes? Like, what a coincidence! And she just happens to have the same last name as the lead detective. And she just happens to have somebody in her family with the same name as the lead detective. I don't know. Um, so remember a while back, I had theorized, what if plan A was to pin this crime on a different KB, not the criminal defendant, but the Purple Heart um, Army vet who passed away sadly in a SWAT team incident exactly 30 days after Idaho 4 and probably about 7 miles away from Idaho 4. What if he was plan A? What if the criminal defendant is plan B? And what if that seems to be falling apart and there's a plan C? And it looks to me like that could be Emma and Demetrius. Just an idea. Just an idea. I mean, those two have really been getting poised to be heavily involved in this one way or another. Am I correct on that? I think I am. So, plan A, plan B, plan C. The big question is who done it? Who committed this heinous atrocity of tragic, monumental lives lost, lost lives, and who's trying to spin things and who's trying to cover things up? We want the truth. We want to know that whoever did this is essentially put in a cage where they can't hurt people in the general population anymore, or capital punishment. That's, I think, what pretty much most people want. Of course, the University of Idaho wants that so that their students can feel safe to come back to campus and continue on business as usual. So, someone got arrested before the first day of the next term over the holiday break, right? And he certainly looks like he plays that part. He certainly appears that way from the weird photos that we see of him, I want to bring up a really, really interesting photo that Crime Stories Obsessed UK just posted today, I think, on her community feed. And it's a picture of Margaret Atwood, you know, the author who wrote The Handmaid's Tale. And she's in a room full of almost all women. It looks like a seminar or some type of academic setting, maybe a lecture. Whatever it is, it's almost all women, except Koberger's sitting right there in the front. He's huge. His legs are huge, like muscular and athletically built. I think it's photoshopped. Crime Stories Obsessed UK has a knack for finding the coolest photos of people and putting together the most beautiful tribute videos. So I love her for that. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is not photoshopped. And if you look at his nose, we all know that he's got a very eccentric, odd type of, uh, I don't know, the way his nose looks is strikingly unique, let's just say. So the nose on this Koberger in this photograph with Margaret Atwood is a very fat nose, like it's swollen or somebody else's nose. I don't know. One of those is my guess. But it's just interesting to me that as people have been trying to paint this guy as a misogynistic woman hater who is an incel and wants to retaliate against these four people in the 1122 King Road residence, he wants to retaliate against all of them for him being an incel, but yet he's meeting Margaret Atwood, who's like one of the greatest feminists and authors of all time, in my humble opinion. Weird, weird, weird. There's so much weird stuff in this case, you guys. Um, so I want to keep this short. I am very cognizant of how many videos we all have to choose from to watch, and how long these videos can be, and how much substance can we get from our videos that we're dying to get this information. I know I am, I know you are, and I'm trying to make my videos succinct. I'm hoping that I can deliver a lot of information in a short amount of time so that we can all do all the other wonderful things that we want to with our lives. If that's watch other videos, so be it. But you know what I mean. We all have a lot on our plates. We're all very busy. So I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you watching. And thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have a wonderful, fabulous afternoon. So you can get your exercise and your fresh air and your sunshine. Stay hydrated, eat well, high protein, high produce, be kind, be forgiving, especially be kind and be forgiving. I will request with content creators, because content creators are, for the most part, really sticking their necks out to try to find the truth. I don't believe that all content creators are like that. I think that some are just trying to make money, basically. So think about what you expose your brain to. Think about the information that you allow in, because there's just a flood of misinformation. We are in the information age. We all know that. It's been going on for a while, but now we're in the age of misinformation and disinformation. Now, misinformation is simply the wrong information by accident, right? Disinformation is people trying to create a false narrative. And we see a lot of that. A lot of that. I was in Zav Girls live yesterday, and towards the end, I brought up the person who was let go, was relieved of his responsibilities at Wazoo. Matthew Kurt, he was a sergeant. He's the guy who was responsible for getting that entire command staff relieved of their responsibilities and duties too, because of his sexual indiscretions that were widely known. Somebody had finally complained a couple years back. It took a while, and then that's when the university hired Chief Jenkins from Pullman. But this is why I'm bringing this up. I want to add that Pullman PD had its own issues. They had a police officer who was fired and being criminally tried for sexually assaulting an 18-year-old student, a medically compromised, duly medically compromised 18-year-old student. She was inebriated and she was diabetic. Can you imagine how scared she was? Not only did she have to contend with the douchebag from Pullman PD, he was friends with Matthew Kurt, who was there as well. And that went to trial, was declared a mistrial in the end, and the poor victim was too scared to pursue it any further and just let that go. But again, my point in bringing that up is that Chief Jenkins came from a department that had the same kind of garbage going on when he came over to Wazoo to clean up their mess that had been brewing for years and years. It's a very sexist culture there in Pullman. I've been there a few times. I know people who've gone to school there. I have people in my family who went to school there. It's a very sexist culture. Moscow, I don't know because I've never been to Moscow, but it's like 5 or 6 or maybe 7 miles down the road. And it's not that different from what I hear, except that it's the cool town and Pullman's the not cool town. It's the zoo. I think this is all relevant information, you guys. The culture, the clash of cultures. Moscow is sort of like the princes and princesses, the kings and the queens. Pullman is kind of the thugs or the peons or the flunkies. Yeah, I said it. I said it. There's a lot of classism there for sure. So University of Idaho is a highly regarded academic institution. Wazoo is a highly regarded party school. All right, I'm wrapping. I've said too much. I will see you guys on the next one. Again, thanks so much for watching, and please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. Share, subscribe, ring your notification bell, and I will continue to make the videos that I feel like are helpful for me, and I hope that they're helpful for you. So see you on the next one. You guys have a great afternoon. Thanks so much.